This is a graph of the sales activity of the 24 largest volume production builders in Houston. It's a survey that's done by Metro Study every quarter, or actually every month. And you can see the nice upward slope in the first quarter of this year. There was an improvement in activity, but then at the end of the tax credit, it just dropped off dramatically. And we've stayed down at that level. And if this graph continued on out to this month, it'd be just basically going horizontal. You can see we're down at where we were at the end of 2009. This is showing the builders' finished spec inventory. You can see there was a run-up in speculative inventory in the middle of the year. That's houses that were started during the good sales period of the first quarter, ended up as finished spec inventory in the second quarter, but the builders dropped off on what they were starting in the second quarter. So that situation is going to correct itself pretty quickly. The builders are watching their inventories very closely, so there's not going to be a lot of that finished spec inventory sitting out there. And this trend line that you've seen, the red trend line, is continuing down through October and November. There'll probably be a little bit of a bump up in December as we all gear up for spring selling season. This is over the long term, the difference in starts and closings, and you can see the red line is well below the black line. The starts are below closings. That's cleaning out old inventory. There's just a tremendous correction in the inventory situation over the last couple of years. And that's continuing. It's healthy for the market, and it'll ultimately give builders a little bit of pricing power going forward because there won't be a lot of inventory to compete with. And this is showing what's happened with master plan communities. As we saw in previous periods of downturn in housing, master plan communities have increased their market share fairly rapidly, and that occurred this time around as well. You can see there's a nice run up from 07 to 09 in market share. That was really flight to quality, people running into the safety of the master plan communities for their investing in housing. The little bump up that you're seeing most recently in market share, I think may be more due to the fact that master plan communities are where the lots are. The builders want quality lots and quality locations, and those are in master plan communities. I think that's more of what we're seeing there than really people continuing to seek the safety of master plan communities. And this is just a little anecdotal evidence of what I was talking about. This is Cross Creek Ranch over the last couple of years, our master plan community. And you can see it's just a steady uptick in activity. We really haven't seen any of the downturn that you saw in the graph earlier. And that's the case with most of the major master plan communities. It's just a steady climb in activity. And a lot of that has to do with our ability to keep lots out in front of the builders. And this is what I'm talking about as far as lot supply, lot deliveries versus lot absorptions. And you can see over the last 2 years, the starts have exceeded lot deliveries by a substantial amount. And in the most recent quarter, the absorptions, the starts exceeded lot deliveries by 10,000 units. That's cleaning out a lot of the old lots that were out there. And it's also reflective of the fact that they're just not development financing out there. The developers can't finance the lot development activity. So this is going to continue for a while. You're going to see the old lots that are out there getting absorbed, and hopefully it'll spread over into some of the communities that are more challenged. Here you can see the lot delivery rate. It's as low as it's been in 20 years. The current lot delivery rate. So going forward, if there's a healthy increase in home building activity, I would expect there to be something of a lot shortage. This is a graph that kind of shows what's going on with the existing inventory. There are 55,000 lots on the ground in Houston. Sounds like a lot of lots, and it is a lot of lots. But about half of those, or over half of those, are in communities that are essentially just dead communities. They're 0 to 5 annual starts in those communities. And those are the small lots, small communities in the periphery. And in those areas, there's a 200-month supply of those lots. And those are the ones that have to get cleaned out of the system before there's really any need for a lot of the additional lot development of that type. Now, if you look at the other end of the graph here on the right, with those communities where there's 72 or more annual starts, which is almost entirely master plan communities, there's less than a 10-month supply of lots on the ground. And it takes 12 months to put lots on the ground. So that would suggest that the master plan communities are probably going to experience some spotty lot shortages as well, simply because that's where people want to go right now, and that's where the lots are. Now, if you look at all of our vacant developed lot inventory in Houston, even including those junk lots I was talking about, we're in about the best shape in the country. You can see how far over on the right we are. If on the other end, that's Atlanta on the left end, and they've got a 25-year supply of finished lots on the ground in Atlanta. They are not going to need to develop lots for a while. And this is finished housing inventory. As you can see, in finished housing inventory, we're in good shape as well. And we're in that kind of band of where you would say it's kind of in an equilibrium area. And on the other end, Las Vegas. Las Vegas is starting to look like Houston circa 1985. And it's ugly out there, and I think it's going to take a while for it to get better. But we're fortunate here in Houston and in Texas in general that we've got some pretty good inventory balance in our markets. Going forward into next year, I think next year is going to be a lot like this year. We're going to probably do about 18,000 new housing starts in Houston in 2010. I would expect 18 to 20 next year as well. I think we're going to be flat. It's not going to get a lot better. It's not going to get a lot worse. But looking at the long term, what does single-family housing look like? This is the graph that I think tells that story. The millennials, which are the 20-somethings, the baby boomers' kids, are the ones that are starting to form households. And if you ask them where they want to live, what is the ideal place to live, the overwhelming percentage of them say the suburbs. And they say that in much higher numbers than older age cohorts. So if you talk to the people who are going to be forming the households and you ask them where they want to live and where they're going to live, they're going to live in single-family houses in the suburbs. So I think long-term, it's going to be very healthy in that single-family housing business. Thank you.